What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the True Gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm okay. You know what? As you know, I said before, well, first of all, I'm sorry that we missed last week's episode, by the way, the last 2 weeks, I should say, because I was suffering from being an old man.
Yes.
My back went out and my leg was dying and I was in a lot of pain and I couldn't even sit properly.
Yeah.
It was really fucked up. I could only sit hunched straight forward, like leaning over myself, which meant I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fucking relax back on like a seat like I am now. It was very frustrating. And if I couldn't even concentrate on breathing, then there's no way I could have concentrated on talking about gaming. So appreciate you guys for your support for that. But I'm feeling a lot better now.
Yeah, we're both suffering the effects of just being old.
Yeah.
I hurt my back the week or maybe a bit more before you. And then it's good that we usually do a week between so we're back on schedule, because last week I hurt my neck from sleeping wrong. So
what I hear, half glass full, glass half full kind of guy. You were sleeping. That's what I hear.
It's funny you say that because I woke up in the middle of the night with a pain in my neck.
That's the worst way to wake up.
So
pain being the way you wake up.
What is that? Yeah, and then I had food poisoning on the hottest day of the year, Monday. Which was horrendous. Which also, all of this, just as I'd finished like 3 or 4 weeks of back in the gym, getting that like the first step out of the way. Like, you know, on
the most annoying step.
You know, on fitness programs, they have like week 1, week 2. I call that like that whole getting set up again, like a 0 week or a 0 time where you're just back in, you're moving, get everything going again. And then you can start training. And I was ready. I have all my programs for all my old stuff, and I was going to modify it how I need it because, you know, I'm pretty advanced at this stuff. I can do whatever I need to do. Like, I can correct your shit just from a description. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I know, just wiped out. And worst thing, you have a hurt back, and you're like, well, maybe I'll do some gaming. No, when you're 30 plus.
Yeah.
No, when you're in your 30s and you got your hurt back. No. You're going to be doing some suffering. That's what you're doing.
That's what I was low-key thinking about every time I was hurt. I was like, well, at least maybe I'll get to play some Baldur's Gate because then I could like sit in the thing. But even sitting in the chair was really
it's awful. I was thinking
really
I'd
painful.
like find a comfy position on the sofa and go through Cyberpunk again, and the DLC and all of that.
Comfy position? What does that mean?
Right. That was the mistake. So we're both old.
Yes,
that's
time
no fun.
Is affecting us.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's funny, there was something you were saying there I wanted to say and I completely forgot where it was. This is another effect of time and age.
Yeah.
Fucking Joe Biden over here. What? But other than that, you're doing pretty good though, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you had some time to do some gaming?
Let's see, what gaming? Yes. I have managed to play Baldur's Gate 3. Which I know is like not a new game at this point, but I mean, it came out January? Was it this year?
Yeah.
Or maybe the end of last year?
You're not the only one. One of the things that we're going to mention later on today, I mean, I can mention it now, it's only a small thing. Baldur's Gate 3 is still reaching 100,000 people daily playing on Steam alone.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it.
And it's a year after launch. It's crazy, right? It's
I played Dungeons and Dragons, IRL, and my original group that I found because of lockdown, one of the guys was like, look, Baldur's Gate 3, I love it. I have all this time because of his work situation when I'm like free because he's in America. He's like, let's play. So we try and get on. Anyway, 128 hours for my first playthrough. And lovely. The whole like last 5-hour session that we were playing through up until like the very final boss, he was like, so what are you going to do next? And I was like, man, you know, I'm thinking maybe cleric. I don't know. I'm going to roam. So we're back to, I started again. I beat the game. I'm starting again. I'm doing a laser romance. And we bumped into Karlak. Sorry, guys, if you don't know Baldur's Gate 3, I bumped into Karlak. I was like, we need to get her anyway, just, you know, complete all the stuff. And the second I started speaking to her, he was like, don't do it. And I was like, I'm falling again. I'm falling in love. I'm falling in love.
Don't do it.
I literally said to him, after the very first conversation, I was like, yeah, she never comes in the party. We are Karlak-less for this run because I will fold.
I will fold.
I will, like a cheap suit. I will fold. I don't know what it is about Karlach, but I love Karlach's character so much.
Yeah.
I will fold. And don't get me wrong, there is no, Shadowheart's a great pick. She's the obvious.
There's too many good picks. Bro, I almost fell for Gale. I was like, well, hold on. He's manipulating the starry sky for me. I was like,
Gale.
Oh God.
Act 1 Gale is kind of annoying, but there's something there. Yeah. A Astarion who I don't like, there's also something there.
Yeah.
He's got like sad puppy energy.
Yeah.
Like I there's all of them are good. The only one I actually genuinely don't like is Halsin.
Yeah.
I just can't stand him. He's just so annoying. He's annoying, but it's a great game.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything when he was like, when he joins the group and whatnot, I
was like,
he hints at something and I'm just like, this came out of nowhere. We barely know each other. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't have a thing for Astarion, but anytime he talks, almost always I find one of my options is somewhat flirty.
Yeah.
He gives me the flirty action back, I give it a little bit back. Even though I'm romancing Karlach or Lae'zel or whoever. Halsin did that, and then he straight up says, "Look, I'm interested." And I was like, "No,
shut your damn."
I was like, "No, we have a brain to fight." And then after that, I'm not interested. I was like, "No, yeah, I just don't find him compelling." But I mean, like if some people do, that's great. So anyway, that's what we did.
Cool.
How are you finding Baldur's Gate?
Oh, it's been going so well.
Where are you? At this point, a year in, I don't think saying what you've done is spoilers, really.
Yeah, I am in the... I don't actually... What's the fucking name of it called? It's the place that's like the Temple of Lady Shah, I think it is.
Okay.
It's it's underground.
Yeah.
And you're doing all the trials as Shadowheart to do. And it's getting really deep with her storyline. I'm getting quite happy with that.
Cool.
And I specifically went that way because obviously
Have you had the flashback yet?
No, I haven't had a flashback yet.
I feel like you would have had it. It's about her as a child and being chased by animals.
No, haven't had that.
That's not a spoiler.
Cool.
You'll see it.
I specifically went this way because I wanted
to. From that point, as soon as I think I got that flashback way before the temple.
Damn, why haven't I got that flashback?
Maybe you did and forgot it. It's not. It doesn't reveal anything. But I was like, oh, this is what I think's happened. Boom, 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 boom. And my mate Carl, who I was playing, was like, the fuck? He's like, you're 100 hours away from that. How did you do that? I was like, I mean, don't confirm or deny anything, but this is my plan. And then it played out. I was like, oh, you did get it right.
Well, I've done that, and I also went to the Moonrise Tower.
Yeah.
And I basically infiltrated them, like, pretend like I'm one of the true souls and stuff that. And I'm being very careful to not blow my cover.
Yeah.
And it's getting quite tense sometimes. I was like, fuck
dead.
I was like, I mean, I
betrayed you.
I don't really care who you are, so I guess you're dying. I don't want to kill you for no reason, but if I don't, then I'm getting found out. So,
dead.
Sorry, guys.
D-E-D.
And then you go upstairs to the general ogre woman, and she's like, "Let me feel how it was." And she enters your mind. She's like, "Oh."
Yeah, that orc chick is. If she wasn't such a psychopath,
that's what it was,
she'd have a thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a freaking great game.
And she has apparently she has the ability to just kill people on demand.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I asked her like what her ability was, and I happened to roll a good roll, and it was just like,
I have a death ray.
I have the ability to just kill someone when I feel like it, and I was like, shit, we really can't fuck up because she'll just be like, done.
Game over.
Your party is all dead. This is the end of your save. You cannot recover it.
Yeah.
And you cannot save scum. It's all been deleted.
Yeah, it corrupts your save at that point.
Shit.
Death by huge fuck up.
Fucking hell, 60 hours down the drain. I did do something interesting. In the Underdark.
Yeah.
It's not the Underdark. Underdark is the place where the mechanoid people are.
Yeah.
Not that one. The same place where the shadowy curses.
Yeah.
I went to one place, the healing, the Church of Healing, I think it was called. Yeah. And there's like a surgery going on there with some people, with some like grey-faced people.
Did you find out about them before you went in there, or did you find them first? Oh, see, I did it the other way around. Yeah.
Oh, shit. I went straight in there and I thought like, oh, House of Healing. They might have some cool potions or some shit like that. And the woman at the desk is like, don't worry, the doctor will be with you soon. And I'm
Did you meet the doctor?
I waited. At first I was waiting. I was like,
oh no, you waited for him.
Well, no, I waited for a bit. and nothing happens. And
Excuse
I was
me,
like,
miss, when's the doctor going to be
I was like,
visiting?
maybe am I gonna have to wait a ton of time or something like that? I went outside, went back in, bitch is still telling me to wait, and I was like, do you know what? And then I told her, I was like, actually, I'm one of the assistants guys.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, but then you can go right in. I was like, fucking bitch made me wait for no reason. I don't know if something happens if I waited.
I don't think it does.
It would be funny if I did, but anyway.
Well, I think there is one thing that probably happens, but it depends what you did next. So I won't.
I went in there,
Yeah.
and they're all telling me about the way that you alleviate pain is by like causing pain, basically.
Yeah.
Like, just cut into them, and that's how you get rid of their pain. Their pain is expelled from their body. And they're talking all this shit, and they're like, and I managed to convince them. I'm like, you know, if you're a true follower, then you only operate on people that are like actually willing participants in all of this.
Right.
Whereas this guy isn't. And the guy's like, you're right. Ladies, turn on yourselves and start stabbing each other. And they're like, yes, we shall do this. And they go and kill themselves.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and is like, do you want to join in it? And I was like, do you know what? You show me first how, because you realize you got the tadpole behind your eye. It's like, you can get that out yourself. And he's like, can you show me how you would do it? Just as an example. And he shows his fucking blade in his eye and just ties it. I was like, this was hilarious.
That is also a really difficult combat if you're trying to save the guy specifically because you know who he is.
Oh, God.
If you know who he is,
oh, no,
you're
who
there
is
to
he?
save him. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Oh, no, I killed him.
Don't worry about it.
He just seems so evil with all the Edward Scissorhand hands.
Not that guy. I mean the guy on the bench. You get a quest to find him.
I did save him.
Cool.
So I unchained him. I let him go.
yeah.
I don't know where he's gone afterwards, but
You're looking for him for some reason. I totally forget what. But that's an awkward fight because they're all over the place and they're very, very stabby. And it's a good fun fight.
I just let them stab themselves.
Yeah.
So there you go.
What are you playing as?
I am a paladin half elf.
Okay. How are you so good with like persuasion and stuff? Or are you just rolling? You just get
Happen to be rolling sick shit. But what's I'll tell you something bad that I did. I saved scum because I felt like this was so wrong.
Yeah.
So you know when you go to we're talking gaming, so
It's gaming. This is fine.
You know when you go to the hag, the one that, what's her name? Ethel, that's right, Ethel. And she reveals herself afterwards, and it turns out there's a woman there that she's held captive, and the whole reason why she's doing it is because she wants to raise her husband back from the dead, but obviously that shit never works out right.
Yeah.
After you kill her, you find the wand with the guy's name etched in it, so you could use it to raise her husband. And I was like, I kind of want to see what that is all about.
Yeah.
And I raise him, and he's just a zombie. He's not like himself and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel bad for her, even though she's being a complete bitch the whole time. She's like, what have you done? It's like, bitch, you wanted this. This wasn't me.
Yeah.
I just did what that war hag was going to fucking tell was going to do for you. Anyway, and I was like, I felt bad for her. All right, you guys just leave. Just take your zombie husband and go. And then as soon as that happens, my guy, and apparently as a paladin, you really can't fuck with the balance of nature and lives and stuff like that.
Especially in like real D&D, where there's so many more like subclasses and stuff. It depends what your like oaths are.
Okay.
But yeah, you're not supposed to be doing that.
And he's like, and some guy comes up in like a ready sort of outfit and like red aura around it. He's like, you've broken the sacred oath you've taken.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to turn yourself in. I was like, no. Back. I don't want to do that.
You can play as an Oathbreaker paladin. That is a thing you can do.
I'm just too nice. I'm too good. I'm too
You want
decent.
everybody to be happy, but that's not like the way.
Listen,
it needs to go.
in my world, everyone's happy. No one suffers at all, and I'm the savior.
Yes, yeah,
and I'm huge. I'm hung like a horse.
Of course, yeah.
Which apparently, when talking about weight ratios to inches,
only 4 inches.
Apparently, it's not that much. I already am hung like a horse.
Still impressive, but
I'm almost hung like a horse anyway. But yeah, in my world, I am a nice guy, and I uphold the good standards. And
I will tell you, there are a couple of just little tricks and hacks that, having been like so I played through as a monk, which I played through with the elemental one, like the avatar version. Awful, it's just not fun. Way of the Open Fist, which just punching stuff, is hilarious. It's really good fun. But as a high dex player and not really enjoying playing with Astarion, I've been doing all like my lock picking and stuff. I will say that now in my second playthrough, I don't bother. I just lock pick with swords and axes, and I just destroy the chest.
Do you know what? It took me a while to figure that out, because sometimes I'd do it with my main character, and he's not very good at dexterity. Yeah. And I have Astarion on my team sometimes, so I can do those specific things. And it's hilarious when you roll. It's like this is a 14 or a 19 or a 20 even sometimes. Oh, it's really hard. And you roll a 35, and it's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very easy. But on my normal character, sometimes it's too hard. And then you're like, wait a minute. This thing's like vulnerable to like bludgeoning damage. Bang, 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 done. That's just all
I'm just going to lockpick this. Just like, hey, what's that? Bang, bang, bang.
Bang!
Yeah. The way I would lockpick a piggy bank. There is a point where you're in, I think it's a bank, where you will need a star, and you need to be very creative with how you do that. But apart from that. Oh, also, there isn't, maybe spoilers, you get the option to like double down on your you know how when you find like little tadpoles you can get more tadpole powers. You will get the option to double down on that if you want to. There's no downside to doing it. So when I did it, I was like agonizing over that decision of like, man, but if I do it, does that mean that like,
am I basically a fucking
yeah, like
am
I a goner no matter what? Am I sacrificing myself now and my future with Karlach for power to like beat the big bad?
The important thing, the romance with Karlach, is that in jeopardy? Tell me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, then I don't want it. I don't want it.
Exactly. So if you get that option, I would suggest taking it, because it gives you a bunch of really interesting abilities like fly and stuff like that. So you can just fly as your regular movement, which makes things very convenient if, like me, when you get to Baldur's Gate, because I was a monk, you can jump like I don't know why, I just found it funny to jump. And so my build was based around that in a bunch of different ways in like kit. And so when you get that fly ability, my jump went further than that. And so I was seeing like what's on the top of everything in Baldur's Gate. I was just running around the roofs. Anyway, also there's stuff up there. You're intended to go up there. But but I might be on like one building like high up and like, I'm just going to jump all the way over there. I take no full damage. I jump a mile.
Do you know what's just so crazy about this game? It's you don't realize how crazy big and expansive this game is. That
also
I have the only part of Baldur's Gate that I've seen is in the intro screen, and I'm like, and I've played like 60 hours already, and I still haven't even got there.
No, you're not actually very close. I mean, you could like, it's possible to do it, but like apparently people finish the game in like 35 hours. I'm like, how? What do you mean?
How do you not get distracted by everything?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm playing again. I can't remember, but I'm going as a fighter, but I'm doing I'm doing a resist the Dark Urge playthrough, because I don't enjoy the Dark Urge. Is not spoiler. Go on.
How do you resist the Dark Urge?
So the Dark Urge is you wake up with amnesia,
right?
But every time when Gale puts his hand out the portal, with the Dark Urge, you think about cutting his hand off, yeah. And then I think if you think about it, it actually happens. You do it, and he leaves. You don't get Gale. You cut his arm off. Yeah. Everybody's like, what the fuck? And then you don't get Gale. Anyway, I'm doing it because I have no interest in making things as bad as possible. It's not fun for me, but I want to see what happens with it. So when those urges happen, it's like, you're better than this. Resist the urge, that sort of thing. But stuff happens while you're asleep because you're clearly a serial killer.
Shit. Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff that go on.
That's so fucking cool.
There's all sorts of stuff that go on.
I didn't know that was a way you could do it.
There's all sorts of stuff that goes on.
That's why I didn't understand when you said resist the Dark Urge. So it's a Dark Urge playthrough, but you're choosing to resist whenever
I'm
available.
Choosing. So like your character has amnesia, so it's effectively a clean slate for that version of you right there. And if you indulge in your own like urges,
go further down that route.
But it turns out you're not like a sole actor in those. You're not like some weird serial killer that's just alone in the world. There's other stuff going on that your past has connections to other things. So it's I think I've called it, but it doesn't matter.
Fuck, I want to do that as well.
It's good fun.
God, I'm gonna finish.
It's actually horrendous, by the way. For anybody that's played the Dark Urge, the lovely lady came to the camp and said hello. We welcomed her in, and then that was painful. That was sad. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3 is a fantastic game. I'm really annoyed that I didn't play more of it early on, because now I'd be on my like third playthrough.
Yeah,
But it's really good fun. I have a question for you.
yes.
I think for me, and I have to say I don't like the combat. Combat's fine, but I would prefer something like The Witcher as an example. That's my preference for combat, or Cyberpunk. I think Baldur's Gate 3 might be my best game ever made.
Yeah.
I think it might be my number one. It definitely is for writing, but I just think, and all the options and all the things you can do, I think for me it's number one.
Do you know what?
It's replaced. You know what The Witcher was in 2015? It's that again for me.
It's just simply the combat part of that I think is
And the combat's really good, by the way. If you start thinking about it, I think now that I'm almost 150 hours in, there are things that I do now that make the combat way more interesting and way more engaging. Like little things like, because it is a strategy game, and I'm playing on the PC. Are you playing on PC or hover over enemies and press T, and it'll bring up like what they're vulnerable to, what are they resistant to. You're expected to think about things, right? And then so that's one thing that I wasn't doing earlier. I was just hitting stuff and casting fireball, and which is my typical way. But also like, you get a bit of kit and you go, that's not very good. You get a second bit of kit and you go, well, that first bit of kit gives you electric charges, but I can't do anything with that. But this says if you have electric charge, it does this kind of damage. And I can create water, and anything standing in water takes double electric damage. Suddenly you got to build. Yeah. Right? And
more crazy stuff where like if you spike food in the camp of something and whatnot, that can affect everyone in there. Like I did that in the goblin camp and whatnot. It's crazy stuff like that adds to the that no other game ever does.
No.
But there are frustrating things. Like I personally don't think that you should really be able to miss a target. It seems so strange that it's like, I'm going to take a swing at someone and critical miss. It's like,
so this is what I will tell you.
I understand this is D&D. I understand this is rolling a dice, but
this is how I would tell you. So, fun fact, nerd alert. This freaking loser's playing Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah, I'm playing real
life. Two things. One, Baldur's Gate 3 is one campaign, one module. And it's not even that involved in comparison to what you can do in real D&D, which is why people love D&D.
Okay.
Two, as your DM for the game, were you there in the combat where people missed combats and stuff? I think that. Anyway, my point is when you roll to attack, right? Yeah. It's not just you rolling to attack. All of these things technically are going head to head. So it's not just that you swing a sword at somebody, but people don't. If someone swung a sword at you, would you stand there and you try and dodge? If you had a sword, you might try and dodge or block or both. So it's not just about like, maybe you swing, but they block. That's how I would flavor a miss. So it's like, let's say their AC is 15 and you roll a 14. I would say like, okay, you go for an overhead swing, but the guy's, alert, steps out of the way deftly, and then goes in for his attack. Right? So it's not so much. I know what you're saying in the game. I get it. I'll tell you,
it's really soul destroying.
It really sucks when they do it with magic. When magic spells miss, Shadowheart is so incredibly frustrating if you try to get her to use like certain spells because they miss all the time. Which is why I don't do that. The only spells I have Shadowheart use, at least when she's at like high enough level, is Spirit Guardians, which is the shiznit.
Yeah.
Spiritual Weapon, heals, that sort of thing. Or maybe Inflict Wounds, which is so good. If that crits, Inflict Wounds is like, you can melt some serious shit with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's just the most bothering part to me. It's just like fucking and yeah, you waste a whole entire turn. Yeah. It's like, for fuck's sake. It's not even like this is like a constant battle where you're taking a hit. Oh, I've missed that way. I need to go this way. Yeah. Like in The Witcher, if you missed someone with a hit, you've clearly gone in the wrong direction. You can just turn around now and go the other way. It's not the end of the world, and it is kind of realistic. But with this, it's like slash. I guess that's that then. Right.
I think as well, especially because it's difficult because everything runs in D&D. It runs in 6-second rounds, so it's not that like you have to think of it as not you do your action, someone does their action, someone else does their action, but in this 6-second segment, all of these things happen at the same time. So you play, you move, Shadowheart moves, you attack, this guy attacks you, Shadowheart dodges that, Shadowheart casts a spell, you go here, Karlach jumps there and attacks the guy. That all happens all at once.
It's hard to think
but
now.
you have to, and this is how you should think about it happening in the real D&D game. It's difficult, but that is what's actually happening. We're just figuring out what each person is doing individually, but then in reality, we would figure all of that out and then hit play and it would happen.
Yeah.
Like a round in an RTS game where you just leave it on autopilot, it'd be like that.
Yeah.
But it's not like the most intuitive thing to look at it that way.
That's the only...
And a miss does fucking suck. It does suck.
Yeah.
Which is why you got to start building things in. Like, okay, so you miss your attack, but you still got a bonus action. What can you do with your bonus action? Is there anything you can do with your bonus action? The attack missed, but you got a second attack. Do you attack again, but they have a high AC? Or do you maybe fuck something up? Like, do you chuck grease on the ground? And then they slip. And now they're prone and you have advantage on attacks.
See, that's the stuff. It's all about thinking ahead. Which I don't do.
No, you won't.
I'm
now.
like, attack! Ah, shit! I should have fucking. No! I should have used this first of all, like Misty Step, and got onto closer. Oh no!
The worst thing is I did this for like 50 hours. I gave Karlach a weapon that gave her smite as a spell.
Okay.
But I would have her rage every time, and rage means you can't use magic. So what I should have done is run up, cast smite, bonus action rage, and then attack again. And instead, every single time I would rage, attack. Fuck, god damn it. Every time. For like 50 hours I did that back to back. Anyway. Do we have any topics?
Eddie Poo, we have just a few things to talk about. But so, first things first.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Bungie.
Yeah.
So Bungie has been going through some bad shit recently, which is really fucking ironic because last week before,
I saw this and I thought the exact same thing.
we spoke about how wasn't it cool how when PlayStation purchased Bungie, they set aside a certain amount of money for
that's all still true. Nothing we said was wrong.
Right, retaining staff and whatnot. So
but
we
were like, the good guys Bungie, good guys Sony, right, they did this right.
Because that's what you're doing. And while technically they're an independent company, independent studio underneath the umbrella of Sony, so they operate on their own thing, and this isn't technically like a PlayStation thing, it still falls under their umbrella, so they're obviously seen as the part of the issue. Bungie announces mass layoffs. 220 roles have been eliminated, which sucks for people working for Bungie and sucks for the gaming industry in general because it just means less shit's game made.
It's not good.
It's a bit crap. Roughly 17% of the studio, which is a fucking high number in my opinion. Like, I don't think I could lose 17% of anything and think, okay, we're still running at optimum capacity. You know, seems like a lot of people.
It does seem like a lot of people. It depends. I don't know what the roles were. Like if it was all developers, rigging artists, stuff like that, I think that would be major problems. But if it's things like, a project manager here,
we had 20 guys that delivered water to us, and that was
right.
Like,
again, I'm not happy that anybody loses jobs. Obviously, there was a reason they were paying those people, but maybe it's one of those things where like. Not that Elon Musk's a good guy, but he fired a bunch of people at Twitter and Twitter didn't fall apart.
Yeah,
right?
People were like, it's going to melt down. And even I was like, well, I mean, losing that many people,
like 80%
surely.
80% of the company.
That's a lot of people to get rid of. Maybe it's going to melt down. It's like, it was a rocky for a bit, but it didn't melt down.
Right. So maybe it's those kinds of jobs. And by the way, I'm not saying that the people that got let go at Twitter didn't do anything of value. I'm saying, obviously, whether it was because of their hard work or not, the ship was able to sail without them. You know, that's what I'm saying.
What really sucks, especially about this Bungie one, though, is that first of all, let me just say they apparently 12% of the staff of 12% of the 220 people being integrated into Sony Interactive Entertainment, and Bungie's also got apparently a third IP they're working on. So Destiny, Marathon, the new one they announced, and then a third IP that apparently PlayStation has taken off of their hands and they're spinning into their own studio within PlayStation. Okay. So maybe some of those people will get picked up there. Who knows? That's what's going on there.
I mean,
what really sucks about this is that the last expansion that came out apparently did amazing numbers. Apparently, the Final Shape, I think it's the last expansion they're doing. The Final Shape expansion apparently did amazing, and apparently it's all great, well received. Everyone loved it, and the community loved it. And despite doing great, still layoffs are happening. Like, what do we need to do then? What do we need to do in order to secure jobs? In order to be like, okay, we're cool. We're cool here. I don't really understand what it means anymore in the gaming industry.
It's really tough because I think I really don't want to sound doom and gloom here, but I think we might be in a very, very bad like financial market where like everybody says, oh, inflation's getting better, blah, blah, but like nothing's really been good since COVID. I think it's just been the slowest crash we've ever experienced because it's been nothing but layoffs. And companies tend not to lay people off for no good reason. And I'm not saying it's a good reason when they lay people off, but it's usually like we can't afford it, or we need better money or whatever, right? Like it's just something's not right.
Something feels definitely off, and I have to be honest, especially when it comes to PlayStation. Obviously, Xbox has got their own laundry list of shit that they've done wrong that could cause a bunch of problems. But with PlayStation, they have put a lot of money into a bunch of live service games that haven't come to fruition. Like The Last of Us Factions one, for example, that didn't even see the light of day. And that got cancelled. Who knows how much money they sunk into that. Concord is a new one that's supposed to be coming out, and I've got an article here saying that Concord fails to crack Steam's top 750 most wishlisted games. So no excitement at all for that, and God knows how much money they sunk into that, and money they've sunk into all kinds of things coming up into the future that might not pan out because PlayStation's expertise is just not multiplayer games, and for the most part, people don't really want to change their multiplayer games. They've got their Call of Duties, they've got their Tarkovs or whatever the hell they're playing out there. That's their Fortnites. That's what they want to stick to, and it's pretty hard to get them away from that. So any investment is likely to fall on deaf ears. I can't help but feel like that's also like bad bets or bets that have gone sour is also the cause of these issues as well.
It's tough as well because you would think that these bets are made. They're made years in advance, right? So surely that's forecasted into when the bet is made. Why would the project struggle before it's finished? Does that make... Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Specifically when it comes to the Factions one, it's just so idiotic.
Yeah.
Like... This goes, you know how we say PlayStation are quite calculated and they're quite smart in how they do things and how they purchase companies, or they work with them first of all and then they go and purchase them. At least they did for the most part until they were forced, their hand was forced by Microsoft and whatnot. Yeah. When it came to the Factions one, it seemed completely idiotic. Like apparently the reason why they cancelled it was we didn't think that we have to support the game afterwards. I was like,
it's called a live service game.
That like when you ask what's a live service game, that's one of the first things you mention. Like the first three things you mention.
It's a game that you continually service. Actually, it's continuously while it's live.
How did you get to what seemed like 80% of the way of the production? They even went like on the Game Awards and they showed the first teaser concepts thing, and they're like, "We're going to show you more next year." So like they were probably almost there, and then they went, "Shit, we forgot." We have to.
You know those 10 live service games we were making? This is one.
Oh no. Oh man,
that's obvious bullshit, isn't it? Like there's no way that was the real reason. They just
I can't believe it. I can't believe they're that stupid. But
do you know what I was going to say? I mean, suits do dumb stuff.
Very dumb stuff.
I don't think that is why, but I would believe it, to be fair.
I mean, an example of another dumb thing and live servicey game. Warner Bros. Discovery earnings report reveals that Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League caused a 41% loss in video game revenue that year. And I remember it vividly. The Warner Bros. Obviously they came out with a Hogwarts Legacy single player game.
Incredible.
Sold tons and tons and tons of copies, made tons of money. And then the year after, Suicide Squad came out, bombed. No one loved it. No one wants to keep playing it. I think there's like double digits of people playing it on Steam. And then they came out and they said, we're going to double down on our live service games and make more live service games going forward. I was like, what? Did you?
You had one thing that printed money, one thing that burned money. How does it make? It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense at all. At all.
And it explains why WBD stock price is cratering right now.
They constantly have a golden goose and they go, no, fuck that thing.
In the gaming department, how many people liked Batman Arkham games? You. Okay, forget that. We're not doing any of that.
No more of that.
And in the movie scene, how many of you guys, in fact, when was our stock price the highest it's ever been? The release of Justice League? Okay, none of that nonsense. We'll go over here. It's like, just...
It's insane. It's
if
insane.
I'm a shareholder, I'm very concerned.
Well, no one's a shareholder because everybody's like, these guys are given the best things, the best franchises in the world, and continually kill them.
Yeah,
and it is from, just like I've been saying about Microsoft, it's just bad decisions. They make dog shit decisions. For whatever that reason is, they make awful decisions.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got lucky enough that things slipped through the net enough that we got Hogwarts Legacy, the Arkham series of games, the original, the proper Batman, Man of Steel, BVS, and the proper Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Let's just be happy that we got those, because somehow those and the original Aquaman was good fun.
Yeah.
Let's just be happy that slipped through their dastardly fingers.
Despite their best efforts to try and ruin everything.
Despite their best efforts, we got some good stuff out of it. Yeah, that is incredible to me that they would go, oh, Suicide Squad. Again, do you know, I think one of the reasons Suicide Squad failed was not because it was particularly bad or anything, but because it was very obviously a cash grab. Yeah. Just like, it's the same reason I've put for The Order 1886. It was way too short and it was obviously part one, not a standalone game. And that's my problem. I don't want to go to a movie and it be part one without knowing there is a second part to the movie. If I go to see a film, I expect it to end in a logical place. Whereas The Order 1886 ends 11 hours in, very much like in the middle of a sentence, basically. Find out more in part two. That's what it did. That's what they did.
Speaking of The Order 1886.
By the way, still a gorgeous looking game. For some reason, I was looking at, I went back and watched the, not just the cinematics, which are incredible, but some gameplay. I was like, man, I can't believe. I remember what it was. Someone was saying Battlefield 4 graphics look better than just about anything coming out today. Why did we peak in 2014?
Right.
Why can we not sort of get better? And they showed a bunch of examples of a relatively fair comparison. I was like, what would I say is one of the outstanding games for visuals? The Order 1886. So I went back and watched it. And I was like, I think it's 2011, right? I mean, it's an old game.
I think it's 2013, 2014, because it came out on the PS4. So where it was
cool. So it can't. Yeah. So let's call it 2014. It's a stunning looking game. It is stunning. And that's so. Anyway, it came up because it's top of my mind.
And recently it came up because Radio Dawn Studios was sold to Meta, and very recently they shut down Radio Dawn Studios.
It was 2015.
2015, there you go.
Still, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost.
And they've shut down Radio Dawn Studios now, which is really sad to hear.
Why would you buy a thing and then...
Yeah, I think they made one game for the MetaQuest, and then it was like, that's it, gone. I was like, I don't understand some of these decisions they make. Anyway, because the studios shut down, it sort of becomes one of those situations that all bets are off. Now we can reveal all the things that were in the making, that weren't, something like that. And apparently, just before they got sold off to Meta, they were working on a sequel to Order 1886. Okay. And apparently they took on all of the criticisms and all the things. They were like, we're focusing more on gameplay, we're focusing more on length and stuff like that. And I was like, no!
Do you know what's annoying?
No, because that was like my one wish. I was like, this is my one thing I ever wanted, and I felt like I've been betrayed, like someone stabbed me in the back.
I took the Order 1886 very personally, but the fact that it's about 10 years ago, I think I would be willing to pay, not full price, because I'm salty, but if it had come out and been like 50 quid, like, by the way, you know, we're talking about Baldur's Gate, 50 quid game.
Yeah, that's a very, very cheap game. And Baldur's Gate is unfortunate, like, the rest of the gaming industry is looking at them like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're doing such good stuff for such a...
How dare you?
You're giving them so much. Look at us. You're making us look shit.
Best performances, best soundtrack, incredible graphics. Like, it's a stunningly beautiful game. Incredible mocap, all of it. Anyway, if it had come out at like around 50 quid, I might have tried it out. Especially if we're game sharing. I probably am ready now to like play another one, and I'm a little bit annoyed that they don't, because it had a really interesting... One of the reasons I was so annoyed was it had a very interesting story. Yeah. It was a really interesting concept. It's a really interesting visual take on everything.
Just got the hook in you, and then it went, all right, and stay there.
Right. So that sucks. That does suck.
Annoying.
That really sucks. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I love that these enormous companies can buy relatively small studios and then shut them down and their stuff never sees the light of day because they own it even though they killed it.
You think, like, do something with, allow someone to do something with it at least. Yeah. Anyway, there's probably a reason why it didn't happen or whatever was going on. But then we get Concord.
Yay.
Great.
Everybody's excited for Concord, right, guys?
Great. Speaking of selling off small studios and someone else buying them, former Xbox studio Tango Gameworks, the guys that made Hi-Fi Rush, who were shut down by Xbox, have actually been acquired by PUBG developer, company Craftion Inc. And they've saved it from closure. So they've bought that, and they've also bought the IP as well. So Hi-Fi Rush might live on.
They might live on to make small niche games win loads of awards.
Win loads of awards, make tons of money. You know, things that Microsoft should do every now and again. But, you know, here we go. I kind of like that. It was a heartwarming story of this team that got shut down for no fucking good reason. They made an outstanding game that everyone loved. Yeah. And then they got shut down. It was completely bullshit. I like that they got saved by someone.
The worst thing about that is that would have been like, man, that's really confusing. I wonder why that happened. The next day, rubbing salt in the wound, though, this is why no one...
Right.
That's why we don't trust these big companies, especially Xbox, because they seem to constantly make the wrong decision. At least Sony comes out with some bangers in between its mistakes.
In between mistakes. I like the way that said that. There was an article I saw a little while ago about Strauss Zelnick, who's the CEO of Rockstar Games, Take-Two, I should say, so under Rockstar, and he was very unfiltered about Xbox Game Pass.
Oh yeah?
He was like, someone was asking him questions like, how do you guys feel about subscription services? Like, yeah, we have subscription services, we're cool with that, we're cool with being on that, but for our legacy games, not our like brand new games.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there was one part where he was like, oh, so you don't think it's a good idea to put your brand new games on like subscription service? It's like, yeah, we don't think so because we're rational. So like, oh and that's you being probably kind and like sugarcoating it.
Because he's on TV, basically. Yeah. So, every single time it comes up and someone's being like honest, we're proved right.
Yeah.
We're not that smart as well. This is the thing. And we called it from 27, pretty much the day it came out. With the anytime they were like day and date. It's not a good idea. It's not going to work. How's that going to work? Explain it to me how it's going to work. How's it going to be good for the studio? Oh, but it's good for gamers. You know, I understand, but how's it going to be good for the studio?
Right.
which is good for gamers. Now, what's good for gamers is that studios make money and can continue to make good games.
Yeah.
That's what's good for gamers.
Unfortunately, they were what's the word I'm looking for? Catering to the lowest mind possible, which was just thinking me. When there are people that are a little bit smart, just a little bit, not too much more. We're not very smart, just a little bit smart.
There's
who are
hundreds of hours of proof that we're not that smart.
This is exactly. There's a symbiotic relationship going on.
Yeah,
we get something good, but we also have to give something back, and then we both grow together.
Yeah.
And if it's just me, then this person doesn't grow. Then so forth.
Exactly.
And proven right once again.
It does suck.
Speaking about the Xbox platform, it's really starting to grind now. Do you remember when Xbox Game Pass first came out?
Yeah.
There was a certain few people who would speak out and say the Xbox Game Pass works for us. But it would be very much of a tempered sort of like, Game Pass is okay.
Yeah. It made a lot of sense for my brother. He was living with a friend of his, and they had the one Xbox. They didn't have a huge amount of time to game. They didn't have a huge budget for gaming, but they wanted to do some stuff on it, and they used it sort of media studio and all that stuff, same way you use your PlayStation sort of thing. Like, okay, great. They don't care about, the cutting edge, the what's brand new. Yeah. Don't have the budget for it. So it made a lot of sense. It did make a lot of sense. Yeah. And great, but they didn't play Call of Duty and stuff like that. It made a lot of sense. There are people out there for who it makes sense.
And then developers who were getting, like, obviously at the beginning, they were getting these big cash deals where they were like, okay, we'll basically, and for like indie developers, we'll essentially cover all of the costs you paid for the development and you put it on Game Pass and it comes day one. And for them, it was an enticing thing. It means they've got all their money back. Yeah. And then they can make their next project and they can move forward and their company continues. And that's a good thing. And they'll be like, cool, that's great. Well, it's starting to wear down now. Yeah. Now that the buying habits of consumers have now been successfully changed to don't buy any games and now just wait for everything to become free on Game Pass. And now Game Pass's price has gone way too high as well. So now people are leaving Game Pass. Developers are now not so kind about this whole the whole Xbox platform.
Also, Xbox, I bet, is less willing to pay the money it used to pay.
Exactly, things are getting a little bit less right now. They have to eventually. It was all like in the beginning to push it all out and then see how it goes. Anyway, developers are becoming much more candid about the Xbox platform, including Phantom Blade Zero developer, who was asked what's happening with the Xbox version of the new game that's coming out, and I'll read the entire question and quote that comes out here. When asked why his studio doesn't want to release an action game on Xbox, he replied, "Nobody needs that platform."
Damn.
According to the developer, the console is not popular in Asia and in addition, Microsoft has created a very overloaded ecosystem for which it's very difficult to develop games on. Yeah. If you have a developer, a completely third-party developer, like a completely detached from anyone, just making video games, who wants to sell video games and says your platform isn't good for selling video games.
Yeah. And also,
take that as a fucking bell.
There's 25 million, which is not a lot, ultimately. Like, it sounds like a lot to you and me, but, it's not a lot of users. All of them are price conscious. Like that, those are the things about people on Game Pass. They don't want to buy games day and date. That's the reason they're on Game Pass. You know that immediately. Then how do you stand out? Then how can you monetize later? Will they buy DLC if you bring out DLC? What was? I have no idea. But are there any numbers on purchases of DLC for games that are free on?
I remember Phil Spencer saying, when Phil Spencer says anything, there's always a double meaning to it. So it always comes afterwards. It's like, oh, fucking, of course you said that, but what you meant was in comparison to this. And so that. And in the beginning, they were like, Xbox Game Pass users actually spend more money than people who aren't Xbox Game Pass users on video games. And it was like, Well, when they factor in how much money they've spent on Game Pass, as well as how much money they've spent in the past over the last 10 years or something like that, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Not like, oh, well, because I have Game Pass, I'm going to buy the DLC or something like that. That was not what he meant. No. And
these people have been trained not to purchase things.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and also, I don't actually blame the Game Pass users. Like, this is what's offered to you. You would take it. If it was a better deal for you, you would take it. And if it's a better deal for you, you probably should take it. That's the natural. It makes sense to do that. So it is fully an Xbox mistake. But what they did do is train 25 million active users not to buy their products. And then cry like, well, why are we making no money? Well, we'll put the price up. No, but you're putting the price up to people that specifically you've trained not to pay money for things.
Yeah.
None of this makes sense.
It's not going to make any sense there.
So, sorry to keep hammering the point. By the way, Phantom Blade Zero is one of those games that I'm like really looking forward to. Yeah. It looks genuinely interesting. Even though it looks sort of more of a Souls type game, which is not my thing, but
it looks a bit more cinematic than a usual Souls type game, which gets me in there. I'm like, oh, okay. Right. But of course, I'll just probably be playing Baldur's Gate 3 until the end of time, so who cares?
I think that's also going to be me too. It'll be another one of the games I own that I don't play.
Sorry, guys. Backlog is growing. Right. Sorry. Speaking of games that we would want to play, but probably never will, Red Dead Redemption, the original one, is finally coming to PC 14 years later after its release.
When's that set to happen?
Well, this is the thing. It's all but confirmed.
Oh, fantastic.
It's not one of those ones where they're like, guys, come in this December.
Eventually it comes to PC. You might die of old age. But it will come to PC. Well done, PC gamers. You get to play a 15-year-old game.
Do you know what? This was sent to me by Zacchino, and he's a big PC gamer.
Yeah,
and I imagine you directly speaking to him right now.
Just straight
He's
up.
like, we're winning, boys. And it's like, I mean, you're probably going to die of old age, but you got it.
Well done. Well done. The funny thing is, I'm playing most of my stuff on PC at this point. But
I haven't touched my PS5 in ages now, just because of Baldur's Gate.
But it's still ridiculous. And anytime there's a problem, I immediately go, this is why I put on my PlayStation. The thing with the PlayStation, the thing with consoles, you press the button, it plays the game. That's it.
Do you want to know something interesting as well? Rockstar games are premier titles, right?
Yeah.
Like they're up there with
they're rock stars.
Exactly.
Literally, like
exactly.
The name fits.
And it's like when a hit PlayStation game comes out, you have no idea when that game is coming to PC.
No.
Like Red Dead Redemption didn't come day one. Red Dead Redemption 2, didn't come day and date with consoles to PC. GTA 6 is already been announced. It's not coming day and date to PC.
Eventually it will come to PC, bro.
I don't know how you guys. I can't handle any FOMO. The tiniest amount. I'm like, no, I'm out. I fold. I'm done.
Yeah, and this is the thing is
I don't know how they can handle it.
Is in the same way that Xbots are like Game Pass, PC games like come to PC. Like, well, if I want to play it early, being within the current decade, maybe I'll just get a PlayStation 5 or whatever. But yes, that would be my recommendation of PS5. And will it be as powerful as your $5,000 water-cooled gaming rig? No, it won't. But you know what it will have? The game. So
I waited an extra 2 years and I spent £3,000 more than you.
Yeah. Suck on that, console gamer.
By the way, can I have one of your controllers? Because this game really suits controllers.
Yeah, it's not very good on MK.
It's just too funny.
It's brilliant. I love it. I will say, though, actually having spent enough time on gaming on PC at this point, one of the things I didn't think I would care about, but I do love at this point, is the niche games that come out on PC. Not only how many of them there are, how high quality they are, and how easy they are to find, but also that a lot of people seem to actually try them.
Yeah.
It's not like, you and me, we might see a game like, let's say it's something lower tier, quote unquote, on like the PlayStation Store and go, yeah, maybe not. Probably
that is
not.
the downer side on console.
Yeah.
Pretty much people are going to go for the AAA first party stuff. Maybe if there's a really a really well advertised AAA game that's third party,
or something that's like a reboot from 20 years ago, that Abe's Odyssey guy, he remade his thing. Like, there are a bunch of these tiny little niche games where, like, I'll find it or someone will tell me about it, I'll search it, and I'll, like, look, and on my Steam, I'll be like, oh, yeah, Zacchino has wishlisted or whatever, right? Like, or played by whoever, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because people are playing these things, you know? And or people actually leave reviews, which you don't really do on your PlayStation. You know, it'd be like 1,000 reviews, 90% positive. Like, I really enjoyed this game. The art style's fantastic. It's a great story. Blah blah. It's a great little passion project. Whatever.
As a reviews on PlayStation, I think we only just got the star rating system on PlayStation.
It's ridiculous.
That's how shit it was.
It is ridiculous. It is totally ridiculous. But they're very different. In terms of gaming, I think it's fair to call them nations. Like, Nintendo has a very different culture to PlayStation, has a very different culture to Xbox, has a very different culture to PC. And let's be honest, Microsoft is North Korea. Everybody else, we're like regular countries. You know, you may prefer, like, maybe the PlayStation is Japan, right? Nintendo could be like, I know they're Japanese, but like South Korea. But like, those are two great countries.
Yeah.
You know, great nightlives, the skyscrapers, you know, like very similar. But just different flavors of, like, Coke versus Diet Coke, Pepsi versus Pepsi Max, that sort of thing. Or Coke versus Pepsi. Okay, fine, fair enough. Like, what's your flavor? But there is an objective, obvious, like, black sheep.
Yeah.
Also, PC gamers, like, get over yourselves.
Yeah, it would be there'd be so much more bearable if they just did believe that, if they didn't have this superiority complex about them, where they're like, there's this like little kid in the corner that's like, pay attention to me, and I'm like, oh shit.
It is just, I find it hilarious when, like, either one of our rigs dominates the PS5, and there'll be people with like rigs that dominate our rigs that are like, well, my rig's better than the PlayStation. Yeah, great. You're correct. A bullet train goes faster than a pedal bike. You're right. Equally, we can play Red Dead whenever we want.
Also, do you know what's funny about that?
Well, they use a $7,000 rig to play a game from 15 years ago.
Also, wasn't there like a Valve survey or something like that came out?
The third most common graphics card is like a 1050.
Yeah, something really old. So like most people don't have the really high end stuff, and
most people on like 2040s.
There's like those memes that go around where it's like, but PC is better than console, and it's the iRobot thing where Will Smith is talking, and then the robot goes, but is your PC better than a console? And they turn around like,
yeah,
shit.
Shut up, robot.
He's got me there.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think it was like the most common card, or like top 3 is a 2040 Ti, which is like 15-year-old tech. Well, let me see when that came out.
Have a look. But just to give you guys a little bit more update on the what's the word I'm looking for? The Red Dead Redemption leak. It does say
2018
specifically in the thing coming to PC for the first time ever. So it's not that it could be like misconstrued as like, oh, well, maybe it's not coming to PC. It's coming to PC for the first time ever. So there's that. I'd imagine it's coming fairly soon then, and it's going to be tied in with a PlayStation 5 release, which I'd be interested in playing. I haven't played the original Red Dead, so that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty nice to see what's going on.
It'll be good. I wonder if it's like just the game or if it's remastered in any way.
I'd hope it's been remade.
I think it'd be so funny if it's just the base game, and then it came to PC, guys. Well done, you waited 15 years.
If they do the GTA trilogy thing,
I'll laugh so hard. The GTA trilogy I still am really rough about, because Vice City I was really looking forward to. I was really looking forward to. Just remaster the graphics. I know it's obviously harder said than done, but like there are plenty of remasters happening. I'm not even saying do what they did with the Last of Us 1 to Last of Us 1 remake.
Yeah.
Or remaster. Just up-res graphics. I know it's not that easy, but just do the same thing.
It's just a button click, isn't it? It's just up-res.
Just make better. You know how like just enhance.
Enhance.
Yeah, enhance.
Zoom and enhance.
Enhance. Zoom and enhance.
Add pixels that were not there before.
Yeah, just zoom and enhance. Also, I love how that technician is like, God, what do I do next? Shit.
I don't know what to do.
I'm out of ideas here. Let me wait for this 10-year beat cop to tell me zoom. Okay, zoom. Yeah. Okay, good idea. Yeah. But it's grainy.
Enhance. The enhance button.
Ooh, good idea, dude. You should have been a.
This is why they pay you the big bucks.
Yeah. You should have been an unnamed extra on this computer because you are pretty good at this.
Oh, fucking hell. Do you know what movie comes to mind when you think that? Do you think of any movie in particular?
About what?
When you think of like zoom and enhance and stuff like that. I have one movie in mind. Shit, I'm blanking on the name of it now.
A little bit of me, not. It doesn't really answer the question of like zoom. It doesn't cut straight to zoom and enhance. But Minority Report, you know, he's like pulling up the pages and like because he does the zooming. So that probably is the thing that I would say. Zoom and enhance.
The movie I'm thinking of is Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman and Will Smith.
Yeah.
There's this one scene with Jack Black is in the room and he's the technician guy.
Okay,
and they've got this like. It's like a conspiracy where like obviously the CIA have their own like internal teams and stuff like that, and they're all pretty siloed off, and they have the most amazing technology as every conspiracy does. Like, you know, the government has the best technologies, and they have a satellite that can just look down and it will be able to detect the CCTV of a camera in a shop, and then just access that CCTV.
Perfect.
And then with that CCTV, it can just guess what the other side of the image looks like. So like if the camera's looking at you like this, it can't tell what's behind you.
Back of face recognition.
But then it just renders the whole scene. I was like, what is all this? And then you see Jack Black is like, okay, now go frame by frame, zoom, enhance, and it's like, what's all of this? And I'm just cracking up the whole time.
That's insane. That's also what I thought was going to be more, you know, brain dances. They made a big deal out in Cyberpunk, and there's like one in one mission. And I was like, I thought this was going to be a big deal. I thought it was going to be like a big mini game.
I thought it was as well.
I would really like more of those. Those seem like they could be really good fun.
I thought it was going to be a huge investigation that we blow open because of these brain dances and stuff like that. But it turns out there was like one mission with it. And it was in a farm with some cows.
Have you got an honorable mention for a zoom and enhance moment?
That's literally where my brain goes to. But now that you said Minority Report, now that's all I can think of. Get that name, stick that over there.
Yeah.
And then he pulls up his own fucking face and he's like,
hide this, immediately hide.
Why don't you go get a coffee?
Yeah. Like, hey, why don't you just like get the fuck out of my office while I figure out what's going on?
Oh man. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of GTA though,
sorry,
Rockstar, and how we were saying like the GTA trilogy would have made its money back and stuff like that. I was initially quite shocked by this, but leaks have come out about GTA 6 and how much it's going to cost to make this game. Take a shot in the dark at how much it costs to make GTA 6.
It's obviously surprising. Is it surprisingly high or low? Because my guess is that it would be surprisingly low.
Take a shot.
No.
I'm not leading you in any particular direction, by the way.
My guess is that these guys are just milking GTA 5 for everything it's worth, including like source code. Crazily enough, I bet they don't get the same flack if someone uses the same animation to open a car door as they do to maybe, I don't know, get in a boat. So that would be my guess. I would say like 200 million.
Way more.
Okay.
2 billion.
Cool. I was going to guess at 1. If it wasn't 200 million, I was going to guess at 1 bill.
2 billion is the leak. What they're saying is GTA 6 is costing, which is initially I thought that's fucking insanity. Because like I was baffled that Spider-Man 2 cost 300 million.
Yeah.
I was like, that's too much money for a video game. Yeah. I mean, granted, that's a single player game and it's very like contained, it's very small in comparison to what GTA could be. I was like, 300 million is too much. And it's like for this game, and then we make a joke about Halo. Yeah. And it was like 500 million. It was like, oh fuck it, crazy. 2 billion. And I was like, man, this means it's going to be filled with like fucking microtransactions and stuff, which is the way that Rockstar works anyway. So that wasn't going to be a surprise. But I was like,
if it's done in a way that is tolerable to the players, that's okay.
It seems to be okay right now, although I don't really like it, because I remember when I tried to get into GTA, I was like, cool. So what's the current situation with GTA? And it was like a guns and drugs mission set where you buy a facility, make runs to like get the materials for it, and you had to use the in-game currency. But if you didn't have in-game currency, you had to buy a currency using real-world money. And I was like, man, they're really quite nickel and diming you with this game. But the fan base completely accepted it. So I was like, to each in their own.
Yeah, fair.
But then some people will enlighten me to the facts, like, how much did GTA sell in its first 3 days? And apparently it made like $1 billion in the first 3 days. And I was like, yo, well, shit, maybe it's not that big of a fetch to pay $2 billion to make this game. If they're planning to make it one of those games that is the next GTA 5.
800 million its first day, $1 billion in the first 3 days.
Fucking hell.
So, but this is the thing. I think $2 billion to make the game is wild.
And a hell of a risky bet.
It really, I mean, it's GTA, but I know, like, there's nothing that says GTA 6 will be a success.
Yeah.
And that people won't go back to GTA 5. Now, equally, they do have GTA 5 and it constantly prints the money.
Yeah.
I think it's still doing like 200 million a week or a month or something. It's ridiculous.
And people are still buying the game every day.
So. Right. It is actually still in the NPD numbers. So, but my concern will be where that money goes. So is it going into like online or like quote unquote main game? I think one of the reasons GTA 5 is so successful is it had an incredible campaign, let's call it.
Yeah.
And then people built on over the last 10 years, people have built on top of the online features. Now, should the game come out with fully fleshed out, basically, or just a port of GTA 5, everything that exists, or do you wait and see what people make with the new tools? Are there new tools? So I hope that it's been split a billy either side, and they've spent actually like $1 billion making the game incredible, and then $1 billion on like, okay, what are things that need to be in place so that the current state of GTA 5 could be made like in the first couple of weeks. Okay, let's get those tools in place. Let's get the servers that are needed, the communications, the whatever is needed, that needs to be in place, like hardware and software, all that stuff has to be in place. Don't feed it to people, but it's got to be there. Okay, it's been 10 plus years since GTA 5 came out. What new tools can we give the players to do with stuff? Okay, cool. Half of that money is going just to new tools. That I think would be a safer way to spend that ridiculous sum of money.
Hopefully that's the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
Now that you say it that way, it sounds a bit more rational. If they're doing it that way.
You'd hope so. Do you think they will do it that way?
I don't know. I mean, when you think any company, especially a video game company nowadays in the good old year of 2024, you think, how are they going to maximize microtransactions? How are they going to maximize that? And how many gotcha mechanics are going to stick in everything? And that's all I can think of right now. I would love it to be a breath of fresh air and be completely proven wrong. And just don't ever have that feeling inside me. As much as I love Rockstar, and as much as they've made good games in the past, they've made stupid decisions, like
yes, they have.
Completely letting Red Dead Redemption 2's online die of their own accord.
That's insane to me. That's insane. Because that is, as far as I can tell, the only option for Cowboy. Yeah. If you want to scratch the Cowboy itch, it's RDR2. And
especially because like the online, the single player game proved that people really wanted the cowboy adventure thing.
Absolutely.
And you could have been the only one making an online version of that.
Yeah.
And they just went, no.
I would not have been shocked if they'd gone, okay, we're going to get a skeleton team up and running on this, right? We're going to just take a little bit, or freaking GTA makes X amount of money constantly. We're going to take 25% of the profit from the monthly recurring, to fund like a RDR team, new team, so it's extra people, not taking anything away from GTA. Get the online up and running and see how it does. And we'll do that for 6 months. And if it doesn't work, we'll shut it. Okay, that would make sense. It's a relatively minor bet, taking nothing away from GTA 5 to see if people want it, which I think people would have. You know, I don't think it was a... You know, people say, we want this thing, and then never buy it. People were screaming for RDR stuff.
Yeah.
And Ethan's channel proves that. They still clamour for Red Dead Redemption content.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do weird things. But, I mean, companies make dumb decisions all the time. Same with Factions. Factions would have been, I think, relatively successful. Look, not Fortnite. It wouldn't have been, you know, a top 3 of all time game contender, but it would have had a few hundred to a few thousand concurrent viewers on the daily basis. Not viewers, gamers, you know. And I think they should have spun it more as like a Division type thing, and that would have had life. They could have made that work, but well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, we're just sidelined. We're just spectators in all of this nonsense, aren't we? And we just get what we can. Get what we can.
That's it.
Final topic I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, buddy.
This is more of an interesting discussion because do you remember when they started to announce video games coming to mobile phones, but proper full chilly games?
Yeah.
Like Death Stranding, for example, came to iPhone, and Resident Evil 7, for example, came to iPhone. And I think at the time I was so hooked up on the idea, it was like, thank God they've got good games now coming to mobile phones. Not that mobile phone is a great place to play a video game. It's always got like all the drawbacks and whatnot. But at least there'll be something decent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm interested to see how that goes. And I was tempted to even buy Death Stranding on mobile just to see what it looked like as well, because I'm amazed that they can get such a complex game running on mobile. And I know that Apple have really gone far with their proprietary chips and stuff like that, so they can run really advanced stuff on such low hardware and get it to look amazing and whatnot. And I was interested to see how that looked, and I really wanted to be a part of it. However, it has not gone well. Resident Evil 7 apparently flops on mobile, sells less than 2,000 copies on iOS when it launched, which is not good, no matter how you try and shake that. And I think it's just the simple fact that as much as I love these games and as much as I love good games coming to a platform that has got crappy Candy Crush over and over again, I just feel like the people who are playing on mobile aren't interested in playing that caliber of game. Yeah. Especially on a screen that size or with the controls that are like on screen and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it's just not made for it.
It's an answer to a question that nobody asked, I think.
I think that's what it is.
And I think a lot of mobile games are the way that they are because that's what people can tolerate. Like, I don't think people want to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 on their phones. You know? Just make what... I don't want Candy Crush on my PlayStation, and I don't want The Last of Us on my phone. You know? And also I think phones are a terrible way to game in general, but still, like, I feel like they probably should have tried it on a smaller scale and brought like a more niche game.
The thing is, though, if they had done that, I would have been pissed off that they didn't try with something really big. A bit like with the PlayStation VR headset, where I'm like, if you're not going to fucking try with your best titles, then don't fucking try at all, otherwise it's going to be thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I tell you what, this does put into perspective the stupidity of all the suits up top that for years have been trying to tell us that mobile gaming is the way forward and mobile gaming is going to overtake everything. You're not even going to want a console or a PC or anything. It's going to be, you want to play everything on your phone. Clearly not.
Yeah, no.
Clearly not.
Not true.
Yeah. Just because you've had a bunch of people buy Candy Crush, it doesn't mean that anybody wants to play anything meaningful on there.
The thing with Candy Crush is it's easy to see on a small screen. It's basic shapes. of bright colors. There's nothing to differentiate. You don't need high quality audio. It can play basically the OG ringtones as its music. Obviously, it's better music than that, but it could get away with that, right? Like that's why something like Candy Crush does so well. If you need to like play Detroit Become Human, the last thing you want is to be like staring at a phone. Even as big as phones are these days, they're not big enough to do that. And if they were any bigger, they wouldn't be good phones. And if they were any bigger, I'd be thinking, well, why don't I just put this on a TV or a proper gaming screen? And at that point, I'm back at a console or a, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, well, like the Switch, I would be curious to know how many people play their Switch as handheld, you know, using like screens and stuff versus as like a console. I don't know what that split is. Equally, I do think there's also a difference there because they mobile and portable are not the same thing. Like a PSP is not the same as a mobile game.
Yeah.
Right? Versus, let's say PSP and Switch handheld.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same thing. Or Game Boy even is different.
And even then, the type of game as well that comes on those kind of platforms as well are very different. Like the smaller, not the smaller, the type of game like a Stardew Valley, for example, isn't the same as like a Baldur's Gate or a COD or something like that. So it's more tuned to that, like handheld, less time, less focus type thing like that. Just having a bit of fun, casualness. Right. Yeah.
It's and I think, look, I do think there's a place for mobile games, I guess, right? I think the place for it is more of like the Pokemon Go type thing. I think those games are good. I don't think I would want to game on a phone for anything like serious.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also the big differentiator. Like I think most people that play on their phones are playing out of boredom. And as a general, it's a way to burn time versus like, I don't play Baldur's Gate because I'm bored. I play Baldur's Gate because I want to romance Karlach again. You know? Yeah. Like, I think that's a big difference.
Yeah,
I think that shows. So, am I glad they did it? I mean, I didn't care. I was never going to play on the phone. But I guess if it had been successful, I would have been glad they did it. No, it hasn't been successful. I just think, well, I could have told you that, but I couldn't have called it until I did it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think it's one of them situations where like we had to try it in order to know. Yeah. Like a lot of things, you have to try it in order to know, and I don't fault them for trying it. In fact, I applaud them for trying it.
And two good picks as well. Like they didn't phone it in with what games they went for.
Yeah.
You know, so fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. That's all the topics we have for today.
That's it.
I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. I hope you guys join us over on the other Conbrosations After Dark channel, where we're going to get really dirty, as Sheps likes to say.
What?
This is all on you, as Sheps likes to say. And yeah, we can catch up over there and have some real fun. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for tuning in. And wish us well in our old age. And
oh my God, if I get another back injury, I'm ending it.
This whole time I'm
going to remove my back.
Just slight feeling in my leg, and I'm like, is this going to progress to full blown leg pain and back pain, or is it going to stay this way? We'll see.
Yeah, it's awful.
All right, catch you on the next one, boys. Bye bye.